Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning again.
Good morning.
Well, I am really so glad to be here. And first of all, I want to give a special thanks to Jane for being so persistent in terms of making sure that I was here and making sure that this was. So thank you so much, Jane. And I'm also particularly happy after, because after I saw the draft agenda, and I said, well, this is going to be a very diverse panel, and I'm assuming a very diverse audience representing a very diverse constituency. And I said, well, that is what movement building is all about. So I have to turn things around and make sure that I'm here on Saturday morning. So with that, I want to give the panelists another round. For actually saying about 99% of what I was going to say, so I'm able to shorten my remarks. But as I was thinking about what I was going to say this morning, I was reminded that the AFL-CIO, other labor organizations, faith organizations, community-based organizations are doing this big call to action for April the 4th, the days around April 4th, in solidarity with the struggles in Wisconsin, Ohio, Indiana, Maryland, where the right of people to organize and collective bargaining is indeed under attack. And when I testify in Annapolis against right-to-work laws that are in the legislature in Annapolis, I call it a virus. And it's a virus that is attempting to gain ground all across this country. I mean, think about it. Who would have thought a decade ago that New Jersey would be what New Jersey is today? Who would have thought that Michigan would be what Michigan is today? So this virus is developing. One of the other things that I include in my testimony against the right to work bills is that we have no desire to refight battles whose outcomes should have been determined 146 years ago. And I'm talking about the Civil War, right? When there were a group of people that believed that another group of people should work for nothing and have no rights. Right. It's the same kind of thing that we are hearing in Wisconsin. It's the same kind of thing that is persistent in the right to work for less bills that we are seeing. There are folks that want to refight battles whose outcomes should have been determined about 78 years ago with the passage of the Wagner Act, giving workers the right to organize and bargain collectively. And it is no accident, I believe, that 11 of the 22 right-to-work states in this country were members of the Confederacy. I don't believe that it's an accident. And some folks don't give up.
They never surrender.
Right, they never surrender. So, we're doing this thing on and around April the 4th. As you know, April the 4th, 1968, the date that one of the greatest advocates and fighters for social and economic justice, and I submit to you, one of the greatest anti-war activists,
That's what got him killed.
yeah, was taken away from us by an assassin's bullet. And I was doing some of the research, something that I knew up here but hadn't really focused on, that it was exactly 1 year to the day, 1 year to the day when he delivered the message at the Riverside Church in New York. And what he said there, it was quoting from the organization Clergy and Laity United or something.
CALC.
And he said that indeed it is a time to break the silence. And he titled his message Beyond Vietnam. And so I was reading that and I said, my gosh, the message is so clear, and today it could be beyond Iraq, beyond Afghanistan, and beyond Libya. It is indeed a time to break the silence. I don't know all the numbers, the billions of dollars that are spent per day, but I know and I believe that there is not a shortage of money in America. Right. I do know, I live in Baltimore City, I do know that there's a shortage of services for housing, that there's a shortage of jobs, that there's a shortage of money for education. So it's very clear that there needs to be a redirecting of the resources that are out there. How do we do that? I'm reminded of all the hard work that Adrian has done. And this goes back to a question that somebody asked earlier about how do you talk to folks. That it was not very long ago, what I think 2003, when U.S. Labor Against the War was organized, because there were labor leaders that took a stand against the war in Iraq. And some people said the AFL-CIO is simply going to snuff you out, right? And Fred, you might lose your job. But we persisted because community organizations also gave us the backup. But we believe that it wasn't a few labor leaders that were going to force the AFL-CIO to take a position, that it was going to be a few labor leaders with the massive support of faith and community organizations. And that resulted in 2005, for the first time in the history of the AFL-CIO, taking a position against the government on a war. That is what we have to do today. So I encourage folks to continue doing what you're doing, and it has to be about three things, I think. We have to have a louder voice. We have to be mad. We have to be mad. It is time for, because the other side is really trying to kill us. They're trying to kill us as a union movement in this country. They're trying to kill the advocates of any kind of progressive movement in this country. And if we are silent, if we are passive, they will do that. They will succeed. Labor cannot do this in spite of what Elton said. We can't do this by ourselves. We lost 612,000 members last year. We can only, and this is the second point, we have to develop a louder voice, a louder, madder voice. And labor cannot do that by itself. We need to seize this time to build even stronger alliances with faith and community organizations to build a new movement in this country that is not tied to a political party. And thirdly, as we do that, we need to consistently raise this question with our constituencies about building a new economy. You know, we have to advocate for that. We have to think about this, because if it's only about tweaking this old economy that is based on war and oppression and profits for the folks up at the top, we're most likely going to end up with the same results. So I suggest to you that in our discussions with our constituencies that we talk about, we have a right to talk about foreign policy, and we have a right to advocate for a new economy. Thank you.